Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today. Hello and welcome to the podcast. On the show today, we have The Shadow. The Shadow is the renowned radio character known for mysteries and crime fighting. It debuted as a radio program on July 31st, 1930 on the CBS radio network. Initially, The Shadow was conceived as a mysterious narrator for a series of macabre stories in the Detective Story Hour. But quickly, it evolved into its own entity due to its extreme popularity. By 1937, The Shadow transformed into a full-fledged radio drama with Orson Welles voicing the character Lamont Cranston, aka The Shadow, who had the power to cloud men's minds. The show featured Cranston and his companion Margot Lane as they solved crimes through clever deduction and supernatural sleuthing. It became a staple of American radio, running until 1954. Now, what you're going to hear today are two stories from the 1939 season. This is just after Orson Welles left the show and Bill Johnstone had taken over. Our first story looks at a series of home evasions beginning with our very own Margot Lane. It is titled The Night Marauders, and it first aired on October 1st, 1939.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
And now for another thrilling adventure of The Shadow. Today's story, The Night Marauders. The Shadow, mysterious character who furthers the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. The Shadow uses his hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the unseen voice of the Shadow belongs. As the scene opens in our story, it is night, dark, still night, and we find ourselves, the unseen observers of two vague figures, moving almost silently across a windowsill and into a darkened bedroom where lies asleep a beautiful girl at peace with the world. Then, out of the stillness,
Hello? Oh, hello, darling. What? Well, what happened? Are you all right? Well, who was it? A short, powerful man? A monster? Why, you're dreaming, darling. Yes? They ransacked your whole room. That sounds like the Night Marauders. Margot, I'm coming right over as soon as I call Commissioner Weston. Now, don't worry. I'll be right there. Goodbye.
Come in, Lamont.
Margot, are you all right?
Yes, I guess so. My throat's a little bruised.
Your throat.
Yes, one of them had his fingers wrapped around my neck.
That's horrible.
I guess that's what's known as getting fingerprints the hard way.
Now, this is no joking matter, Margot.
Well, I'm aware of that every time I swallow.
Did you see what they looked like?
Only the one by my bed. But I could hear the other one prowling around the room. Ooh, it was creepy.
What did the one by your bed look like?
Well, the best description I can think of at the moment is Frankenstein's homely brother. He was quite short, with long arms and a really bestial face.
That's an ugly description.
It was an ugly face.
That's probably Commissioner Weston. I asked him to come over. Come in, Commissioner.
Thank you, Cranston. How are you, Miss Lane?
All right, now, thanks.
Now, where did it happen?
Right in here in my bedroom.
Did they take anything of value?
A few years off my life.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, tell me just what took place, Miss Lane.
Well, I'm a little hazy as to detail. You see, I was asleep, and I was dreaming about pumpkin pies.
What?
Honest. Pumpkin pies. You know, the kind that Mother never makes.
Yes, Miss Lane, but tell me about your waking moments.
Don't you like pumpkin pies?
I adore pumpkin pies, Miss Lane, but this is a police investigation, not a cooking class.
I'll listen to your dream later, Margot.
Thank you, darling.
Do you
quite
mind...
all right.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was awakened by the realization that something was grasping my throat. And it, incidentally, wasn't pumpkin pie.
Miss Lane, please.
I started to scream, but the man put his other hand across my mouth.
And then the other man ransacked your room, is that right?
Yes, how'd you know?
Well,
He ought to know. These same two nocturnal Nimrods have been driving Commissioner Weston and his department slightly insane.
No, it's not that bad, Cranston. We'll have them both under lock and key any day now.
Oh, then you know who they are?
Well, not exactly.
Do you even vaguely know who they are?
Well,
Not exactly, eh, Commissioner?
we know how they work and, well, we...
And you know they're burglars.
Yes, we know they're... I mean, the department always catches up with crimes, Miss Lane.
Well, I'd like to catch up with these criminals myself, Commissioner. If you need a running mate, I wish you'd count on me.
No thanks, but I appreciate your offer.
I see.
There's just one thing I think you should know before I leave, Miss Lane.
Yes, Commissioner?
I really do like pumpkin pie. Good night.
Well, that was a nice, chummy little investigation, but I failed to see that it proved anything.
It didn't. And Weston's plenty worried, too.
Lamont, I don't like that glint in your eye. Are you going to get mixed up in this?
Definitely.
Oh, Lamont.
Now, you go back to bed, Margot. I'll come over in the morning, and we'll figure out how the Shadow can track down the night marauders. Yeah, Margot, you don't know how fortunate you were last night.
What do you mean, Lamont?
Now, look at this newspaper. Night marauders turned to murder.
Murder?
Yes. The body of John Kenyon was discovered this morning by his valet. He'd been brutally murdered sometime before dawn today. Due to the deep bruises on his throat and the fact that his bedroom had been ransacked, Commissioner Weston admitted that the night marauders were unquestionably guilty.
Oh, Lamont. It might have been I.
Yes, Margot. May I use your phone?
Yes, surely.
I'm going to ask Weston again if I can work with him. If he doesn't want me, I'm going to work on this case by myself.
You can't tell Lamont. Maybe he'll make you a special deputy or something.
That's right, he might. Hello? Police Department? I'd like to speak to Commissioner Weston, please. Commissioner Weston. No. Weston, W-E-S-T-O-N. You know, the head of your department. Yes, that's it, that's right. The operator said he'd try to find him.
Oh, that's fine. They're supposed to catch criminals, and they can't even find their commissioner.
Hello? This is Cranston, Commissioner. I just read about the night marauders' latest crime, and I'd still like to lend a hand in rounding them up. I think that I could... Oh, I see. You're not running a school for detectives, eh? Goodbye. Nice fellow.
Did you read this, Lamont?
What, dear?
Henry Burns, an employee of the city, is quoted as having seen two figures leap from Kenyon's window at about the same hour that the crime was committed.
Good. That's something to work on.
Well, what do you plan to do?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Shadow paid a call on Henry Burns tonight.
Thanks for making sure I got home safely. I guess you can go now, officer.
Oh, no.
Not until I take a look around your apartment, Mr. Burns. Now, you're so nervous that if a mouse...
Nervous? How would you like to be locked up all day in a room the size of a cigar box? An hour after hour, face the inquisition of questions hammered at your head.
Now, they were only trying
How would you like it? Answer me, how would you like it?
Say, look, Mr. Burns, you'd better take it easy.
I'll be dead before morning.
Now, no one's going to kill you, Mr. Burns, not with me on the job. I'll be right downstairs. Good night, pleasant dreams.
Well, Mr. Burns,
What? Who said that?
I did.
Well, where are you? Who are you?
I am the shadow.
Shadow. I've heard of you, but I can't see you.
I cloud men's minds so they cannot see me.
Oh, you did that to me, huh?
Yes. Now see here, Mr. Burns. I haven't come here for any other purpose than to act as your friend, to help you. Please believe me.
Somehow I do believe you, Shadow.
Good. Then tell me what you saw last night.
Oh, I can't. I tell you, I just can't.
Why can't you?
I was hoping that you'd be different from the rest. But it's just the same series of questions. What did you see? What did they look like?
Wait a minute, Mr. Burns. I came in with you and the officer that escorted you home. You told him you expected to die.
Yeah.
To die.
Yeah, that's right. I expect to be killed. I'm not afraid to die.
Since you're not afraid to die, Mr. Burns, why shouldn't you tell me what you saw last night?
I hadn't thought of it that way. As long as they're going to get me anyway, why shouldn't I tell? All right. I did see something. It was horrible, Shadow. Horrible, I tell you.
Don't be afraid.
Well, I was walking home. I passed the apartment house where the murder was committed. I heard a weird call, an unearthly sound from nowhere. I turned and saw two figures that appeared silently from a second-story window. They slipped to the ground without a sound and hurried, half running, half walking. Disappeared in the shrubbery across the street at the edge of the park. One of them was short, massive, unbelievably horrible to see. And the other in his hand... What was that?
Look at your feet.
Huh?
A piece of rock with some paper tied to it.
I know, it's the Night Marauders. I know, it's from them.
Read it. Pick it up and read it.
All right. Dead men and wise men say nothing. You have the choice of being either dead or wise. Sign the Night Marauders. Dead or wise.
Put the note on the table.
All right.
It's the first clue. And from that very scrap of paper, the police may be able to get fingerprints. 100 leads to the solution of these crimes.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the police could find the Night Marauders. Hurry, take it. Take it to the police. That note may save my life.
I will. And now, Mr. Burns.
Yeah?
I suggest that you try to get some rest. The police are on guard. You're safe enough here.
I guess you're right. You go out this way. Good night.
Good night. Rest well.
Huh? Rest well. Dead men and wise men say nothing.
Mr. Burns, open the door. Open the door, Mr. Burns.
No answer.
Come on, help me break this door down.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Look at the poor devil.
Oh, good Lord.
Is he dead?
Let me look at the body.
Oh, I can't stand this.
Quiet. Still breathing a little. Be quiet, stand back. Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Shadow.
The shadow. So he's the guy behind the riddle of the Night Marauders.
Murphy. Murphy.
Yes, Commissioner Weston.
I want a list of every piece of jewelry that the Night Marauders have stolen from their victims.
Yes, sir. Has any of it turned up at the pawn shops yet?
No, sir, not a piece. We've been checking every fence for months, sir.
All right, then we'll... Yes?
Good morning, Commissioner. I believe you're looking for me for the murder of Henry Burns.
Who's this?
The Shadow, Commissioner.
The Shadow?
Yes.
Murphy, have this call traced at once. Get every squad car in town in action.
Right, sir.
Now, what did you say, Shadow?
Commissioner, I know you're having this call traced. But I called to tell you that I was in Henry Burns' apartment last night. While I was there, a stone was thrown through the window. It had a note attached to it.
We didn't find any note.
I know you didn't. I have the note. I'll send it to you tomorrow. I'd better hang up now. You may trace this call faster than I anticipate. Goodbye, Commissioner.
Wait!
Commissioner.
Well, Murphy, did you trace the call?
Yes, sir.
Squad cars on the way?
No, sir.
Why not?
The call came from the phone booth here in headquarters.
The call... Here in headquarters? Well, did you get him?
No, sir. There was no one in sight, sir.
Well, this is great. The Shadow is now insulting the department with the department's own nickels.
The park's beautiful tonight, isn't it?
Yes, Lamont. What good does it do me?
No, Margot.
Oh, don't be alarmed. I'll behave. You know, Lamont, I made a dreadful mistake last night.
And what was that?
Well, I just remembered. It wasn't the kind of pumpkin pies that Mother made at all.
What wasn't the kind of pumpkin pies that
My
Mother...
dream. It was apple dumplings. Now, wasn't that silly of me? Whatever made me think it was pumpkin pie?
I don't... Hey, driver! Watch out for that car. It's crowding you off the road.
Yeah, I see the gun down full. Whoa, steady now. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Cranston.
Commissioner Weston. Say, you gave us a scare.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner, I was just telling Lamont. It wasn't pumpkin pie at all last night. It was apple dumplings.
What was which?
A dream, Commissioner. Last night, you remember that?
Oh, yes, I see. I recognized you two riding along, and I thought I'd give you a little tip on detecting, Mr. Cranston.
Really? What's that?
While you're driving around the park for a breath of fresh air, enjoying the sunset after a good dinner...
And a very good dinner it was, too, Commissioner.
I'm driving around in the park because after analysis, I discovered that all of the crimes of the night marauders have taken place within a block of the park. What do you think of that?
Well, is that what you call a clue, Commissioner?
Is that what I call it? It's the first significant fact we've unearthed.
Do you really think that the Shadow is guilty, Commissioner?
What else am I to think? He tried to mislead us today by calling up about some phony letter. And furthermore, I think he's right here in this park.
Oh, no, Commissioner.
Yes, sir, that's what I think. And I have a hunch we'll pick him up tonight. Well, I must be going.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Commissioner. Well, maybe he's going to beat you to the punch after all.
Maybe you've got something there.
Lamont.
What is it, Margot? Well, you're white as a sheet.
That's it. Did you hear that weird call?
Oh, yes, well, what about it?
That's the call I heard last night. I heard it while that man still had his hand on my throat. And when he heard it, he looked up and then let go immediately.
Are you sure it's the same call?
Oh, Lamont, do you think I could forget one detail of that awful experience?
Driver, stop here.
Yes, sir.
It sounded as though it came from over there by the zoo.
We're going to walk a bit. We'll be back shortly.
Very good, sir.
All right, down you get, Margot.
All right.
Yeah. Margot, on second thought, I think you'd better go back and stay in the carriage.
All right. Oh, but be careful, Lamont, please.
I'll be as quiet as a shadow.
Get back, Freddy. Get back. You want me to clean your cage, don't you? There, that's better. Now you'll stay over there where you belong, Freddy. You know, Freddy, you're a very interesting playmate. Oh, you're a little rough once in a while, but when you figure it out, you're quite like a human. We've been friends for a long time, eh, Freddy? Yes, I remember when you first came here. Yes, you were just a little fellow, and now you're a full-grown gorilla. The finest specimen in captivity. Yes. Why, when you came here, you weren't any bigger than Jocko. If you could only read, Freddy. You'd laugh, too. Do you know what the papers said today, Freddy? They said that the shadow killed that man last night. Yes! Silly fools, as if the shadow had the strength to do what you did to that man. But fools! Why should he get credit for those murders, Freddy? Oh, but it's just as well. Until you get more experience, Freddy, yes. Yes, then no one will take credit for our work. You know, Freddy, we can rule this whole city. And do you know how, Freddy? Through fear. Here, now, what's the matter with you? Here, now, shut up, Freddy, shut up there now. What's the matter with you? What was that?
It's the shadow.
Shadow? Where are you?
Here in the cage with you and your gorilla.
Oh, you're the man nobody can see. What are you doing here?
I've been standing here listening to you talk to your friend Freddy.
Oh, you've heard everything I said?
Yes.
And we keepers always talk to our animals. They are more quiet when they hear our voices. It doesn't make any difference what we say, just so long as we talk. Now, what I said meant nothing, Shadow. Nothing at all. No! Now, Shadow, you and Freddy are locked alone in the cage. And he knows you're in the cage. You may be able to hypnotize my mind so I can't see you. But you can't do it to a gorilla, can you? Can you?
You're right. I can't.
Oh, the Shadow isn't afraid of Freddy, is he?
No.
But you will be, because in a minute I'm going to tell Freddy to kill you. But first, I thought maybe you'd like to ask me about the Night Marauders. Shadow, may I present the Night Marauders? Little Jocko, the monkey who is in the cage down at the end, Freddy the gorilla, and their trainer and brains, Joseph Shankro. Yes, it's a pleasure to at last be able to introduce us, even if it is only to a doomed man. Yes. Tell me, Shadow, will you be visible after Freddy kills you?
That remains to be seen. But tell me more about your crimes, Joseph Shankro.
They are not crimes. They are adventures. You're not quiet, Freddy, quiet. It's not quite the time yet, Freddy. Shadow, I'm going to be a great power. Power through fear is my motto.
Why did you turn to murder?
Oh, I was tired of taking jewelry. I wanted a new adventure. I have all the jewelry I need right now hidden beneath you. Yes, beneath the cage you're standing in. But now, Shadow, comes the newest of my adventures. I'm going to see you die. Yes, you know too much, and besides, I'm tired of talking to you. Oh, this is going to be fun. That's very amusing. Yeah, that's right, Freddy. Now's the time. Kill, Freddy. Kill. Freddy, do you hear me? Kill him. Crush him to death. Kill him.
Well, Joseph Shankro, your power is gone. Your gorilla will no longer do what you want.
Freddy, obey me. Kill him.
He will not obey you anymore, Joseph Shankro.
He belongs to me.
I, too, know and understand animals. Freddy won't kill me.
Yes, he will. Freddy, kill him. Do you hear me? I'm coming in there with this whip. I'll cut you to ribbons, Freddy. Then you'll know who your master is.
You fool. Don't open that door. Stay out. Stay away from him.
Then you'll learn your master's here.
Don't hit him.
Then you'll kill when I tell you to.
Stop it.
You feel that, Freddy?
You're mad. Stop it, I tell you.
Like that, Freddy. Now you know who's your master. And you'll do what I say. Now kill Freddy. Kill. No, Freddy. No, Freddy, stop. Stop, let go. No, let go, Freddy.
Gorilla's moved!
Stay back, Miss Lane. Stay back. Are you all right, Miss Lane?
Yes. Oh, Commissioner Weston, did you fire those shots?
Yes, I did. I was standing behind that tree there. Oh, just a second.
Well, what are you doing?
I'm shutting the cage door.
The shadow's in here. This is a great moment for me. The gorilla is dead. The night marauders are no more. And I have at last caught the shadow.
Not quite yet, Commissioner.
The shadow? I was right here. I heard everything that went on between you and Joseph Shankro. I know you're not guilty of murder, but still there are a lot of things I want to know about you, and you won't get out of that cage until I find them out.
But I am out, Commissioner. I came out when the gorilla escaped. And if you don't believe it, you'll find a bullet in the back of the gorilla that didn't come from your gun. Better luck next time, Commissioner.
Miss Lane, if you were not here, I'd say a few things that no gentleman should ever say.
Well, I don't mind if you do say them, but let me first say thank you for saving my life.
Well, I did my bit, but I'm afraid that some of the thanks belongs to the shadow. And so help me, someday I'm going to find out who he is.
Margot, are you all right?
Yes, Lamont.
I heard shots. Good heavens, the gorilla, he didn't hurt you, did he?
No, Lamont, he was dead before he got near me. The commissioner saved my life.
Well, for that, Commissioner, I shall never be able to thank you enough.
Well, sorry you weren't in on the kill, Lamont. The case of the night marauders has been solved. And, Lamont, except for a very bad break, I would have been able to introduce you to the shadow.
Really, Commissioner? I can think of nothing more interesting than to have you introduce me to the shadow.
Today's program is based on a story copyrighted by the Shadow magazine. All the characters and all the places named are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. The Shadow magazine is on sale at your local newsstand.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
The other day, I thought. Before we delve into our second story, I wanted to talk about the Shadow's impact on pulp culture. As you know, he was born from the pages of the pulp magazines in the 1930s. Created by Walter B. Gibson, he was the ultimate masked vigilante, a concept that would inspire countless heroes in the comic book world. The Shadow's influence can be seen in the development of superhero stories. With his mysterious persona, mind-clouding powers, and a network of agents, he set the standard for characters like Batman. The complex personality of the character, who led a double life as a wealthy playboy, introduced readers to the inner workings of masked adventures. The stories often explored themes of justice, morality, and the blurred line between good and evil, which have become the hallmarks of the genre. The Shadow just didn't affect culture. He also had a huge cultural impact through various adaptations. The character went from the pulp magazines to radio, to comics, to films, and then even TV, showing that storytelling could transcend mediums and adapt to changing audiences. Orson Welles' portrayal of the Shadow on radio in the late 1930s added a touch of grandeur to the character, influencing how heroes were shown in both audio and visual formats. In modern times, the Shadow legacy lives on through reprints, new books, and movie attempts to bring him back to life. While the adaptations have had their ups and downs, the core elements of the Shadow, the intrigue, the mystery, and the drive for justice still shape modern superheroes today. This enduring appeal shows how important the Shadow was in shaping pulp culture. You know, I'd say he was the dad of most comic book heroes. And now for our second story. We're going to explore a recurring theme in Shadow Adventures: the complex relationship between the protagonist, the police, the criminals, and the delicate balance he keeps between his real life and his shadow persona. This theme is subtly woven throughout the story, and I think the writers did an amazing job of making the transition feel real and believable. Our story also has some other cool elements. The idea of using fingerprints to frame a dead criminal is pretty unique. You'll see how this interesting plot unfolds in the story called Phantom Fingerprints. It first aired on October 29th, 1939.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
The Shadow, mysterious character who furthers the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. The Shadow uses his hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so that they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the unseen voice of the Shadow belongs. Today's story, Phantom Fingerprint.
But you must understand, Lord Hawley, I am a woman. No. And let's see. I am a lady. No. I am.
You am crazy.
Did you say something, Margot?
Oh, Lamont, you're marvelous.
Well, what do you mean?
You've been sitting at that typewriter for the past 3 hours, mumbling, I am a lady. I am a woman.
Margot, you just don't understand how an author must search for the right word.
Search? That was a manhunt.
Well, now tell me, do you think she should say, I am a woman, or I am a lady?
Well, that depends on what she is.
Well, she's both.
Why don't you play safe and just call her a female?
Oh, now there you go again. Now, how do you think it would sound for her to stand up and say, I am a female?
Well, I was only trying to help.
Oh.
Say, hadn't you a date with Commissioner Weston to take him to your rehearsal tonight?
Oh, that's so. I did want to rewrite this scene and take along with me, though.
Well, then call her a woman and let it go at that.
Well, a woman isn't bad.
It's very good.
Yes. I am a woman. Say, that is good. I am a woman.
Sheer genius.
I am a woman.
Now, come on, let's get down to police headquarters.
All right, Commissioner Weston, ready to see the rehearsal?
Well, Cranston, as a matter of fact, I don't care much for mystery plays, and as for rehearsal...
Oh, grab him quickly, Lamont. He's slipping through our fingers.
No, Commissioner, I want your opinion on the play. After all, I am, as you've told me so often, merely an amateur criminologist. I'd appreciate the judgment of an expert.
You really want my opinion?
Your invaluable opinion, Commissioner.
Well, in that case, Miss Lane, since you put it that way...
And the publicity agent thinks it'll be good for the show if you come to see a rehearsal.
Oh, so that's it. So I'm just being used as a publicity gag.
But good publicity, Commissioner.
Here's your hat, Commissioner.
And your coat, Commissioner.
Well, I've... come in.
Good evening. Oh, I didn't know you had visitors, Chief.
Oh, come in anyway, Doc. Come on in. This is Miss Lane and Mr. Cranston, Dr. Kilgore.
How do you do?
How do you do?
We've met before, Doctor.
Yes.
Doc Kilgore's our medical examiner. He's been with the force for... How long is it, Doc?
40 years. Next Thursday, Commissioner.
Yes, of course. By the way, Doc, the men on the force are throwing a little party for you to celebrate your long service.
Yes, I know. And I appreciate your thinking of me, really, but You know, I just hate to be reminded that I'm getting old.
Well, Doc, I've been thinking things over, and I thought that the party would be a good place for you to announce...
My retirement?
Yes, Doc. Now, I have your pension papers in the drawer of my desk here. I haven't signed it yet because I wanted to talk to you first.
Well, hasn't my work been satisfactory, Commissioner?
Doc, you're the best medical examiner in the country. But we're thinking of you. You've worked hard all your life. Now you can retire at full salary and enjoy yourself.
Oh, why? If I retired, I'd be dead in 6 months.
Now, Doc, that's no way for you to talk.
I'm an old fire horse, Commissioner. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't have my work to do. But, of course, if you want me to retire, I'll do it.
I wouldn't think of it, Doc. I was only doing it for your sake.
Well, then, shall we forget it for the time being? You see, I don't want to retire yet, Commissioner.
Oh, forget it then, Doc.
All right. Well, I guess I'd better get along.
Oh, what is it you came in to see me about, Doc?
Oh, what's it?
Would you rather we left the room, Dr. Kilgore?
Oh, no, indeed not. It can wait until morning.
Well, we'll miss the first act unless we hurry.
You see, Doctor, Mr. Cranston's play is in rehearsal tonight, and he wants my critical opinion. But if you want to talk to me, I'll be glad to...
No, indeed. What I have to tell you can wait, Commissioner.
Oh, well, let's go then. Oh, by the way, Doc, those reports I wanted you to look at are right here on my desk.
Yes.
Now, you sit right down and go over them. There'll be no one around here to bother you at this time of night.
All right, Commissioner.
We've got exactly 16 minutes to get there. We'll never make it.
We will with a police escort, Miss Lane.
Police escort? Whoa! Did you hear that, Lamont?
Yes, Margaret. Goodbye, Doctor.
Goodbye, Dr. Kilgore.
Now, don't work too hard,
No,
Doc.
I won't. And have a nice time.
Thanks, we will. I'm going to work the siren.
Oh, well. Now to work. Now, let me see. Where did he say those reports were? No, they're not here. Oh, yes, of course. Here they are on the desk. Now, let me see. Oh, yes, indeed. This is going to be a mighty interesting case. Well, that's odd. I thought I heard something. Hey, who's there? Who's there? I said. I can't see you over there in the dark. Oh, no. No, not you. No, don't look at me that way. No, you could not. I'll call for help. Oh, please, you couldn't. What have I done to you? Please speak to me. Don't just keep looking at me that way. Well, you wouldn't kill me. Well, you couldn't. It's impossible. I'll call for help. This door is locked. Oh.
Well, Commissioner Weston, what's your opinion?
I think you've got a mighty nice theater here.
A mighty nice
I think Lamont's more interested in your opinion of his play, Commissioner.
Well, of course.
Oh, that. Well, now look, Cranston, your villain is supposed to be a master criminal.
Yes?
He makes a foolish blunder, for one thing.
Well, then, you don't think a master criminal would leave his fingerprints around, even by accident?
Emphatically, no.
Well, I don't see why.
Commissioner Weston. You're being paged, Commissioner.
Yes, one of my men from headquarters. Guy, what are you doing here, Giles?
Well, Dr. Giles, hello.
Chief, I've got bad news for you. Doc Kilgore is dead.
Dead?
What?
Why, we just left him 2 hours ago in my office.
He's been murdered.
I know how you feel, Giles. I know how we all feel.
Who did it? Who would want to kill him?
I wish I knew, Giles. Step on it, Murphy.
Yes, sir. Dr. Giles, you were Dr. Kilgore's assistant, weren't you?
Well, he was more than just my superior. He was the best friend I ever had. He put me through medical school, got me the job as his assistant. Why, he was so good to everyone. Why should anyone want...
Come on. Pull yourself together.
Oh, I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Have you had a chance to examine the body?
Yes, I have.
What did you find?
Doc had been stabbed at the base of the skull with a sharp instrument.
Yeah?
Death resulted almost immediately, Commissioner Weston.
Poor old man. At least he never knew what happened.
Chief, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to bring the Doc's murderer to justice.
Who did you say was with you when you discovered Doc Kilgore's body, Molly?
No one, sir.
What time was it?
You've asked him that question at least 4 times, Mr. Weston.
And you've interrupted this investigation at least 50.
Oh, Commissioner, you're exaggerating. I haven't said more than a dozen words in the last 2 hours.
Please, Miss Lane.
All right, but I just wanted to be helpful.
What time was it when you discovered the body, Molly?
About 11 or just before 11.
You were off duty at 8 o'clock. What were you doing at the office at that hour?
Is this the 3rd degree, Commissioner?
No, this is not the 3rd degree. We don't use the 3rd degree. We don't believe in 3rd degree methods.
Well, you don't have to shout at me, and you needn't leave your office.
I'm not leaving my office, but you are.
What?
Giles, where's Cranston?
He's out here examining the body.
He is he? We'll ask him to come in here immediately.
Speaking about me, Commissioner?
Now, look, Cranston. I don't mind you and Miss Lane being here, but she's interfering with my investigation.
I am not. I was just trying to...
All right, Margot. I think it's time you went home anyway.
Yeah.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, dear.
No, I'm not going home. I'll wait outside for you, Lamont. And as for you, Mr. Weston, it wasn't necessary to be so rude. Good night.
Rude. Now maybe I can get somewhere.
Dr. Giles, tell Commissioner Weston what we've just discovered.
What?
It's your idea, Mr. Cranston. You tell him.
Well, all right.
Commissioner, do you need me any longer? I'd like to go home.
Go ahead. But I haven't finished questioning you yet. I'll see you tomorrow morning, Molly.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Well, what is it, Cranston?
Commissioner, do you remember Killer Norvelli?
Remember him? I certainly ought to. I sent him to the chair in 1931.
That's right.
He was a tough customer, all right. Murdered about 5 people with his knives.
Commissioner, before he started on his career of crime, he was a knife thrower in vaudeville, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Now, what are you driving at?
And Dr. Giles tells me he performed the autopsy on him. Right, Giles?
Yes, I'll never forget. It was the fall of 1931. My first big assignment after Doc Kilgore got me my job in the department.
What's a murderer electrocuted 8 years ago got to do with the death of the doctor?
I don't know the answer to that, Commissioner, but there's an odd similarity in the murder technique. And as Dr. Giles pointed out, the weapon used on Dr. Kilgore left the same tri-cornered mark as found on Novelli's victims.
Yes, everything is the same. Why, if I didn't know Novelli was dead and buried, I'd say he was our man.
Now, wait a minute, gentlemen. I can see exactly what you're thinking. Killer Novelli comes back from the dead to kill a man he never had anything against. Oh, no, Cranston.
All right, Commissioner. Now, what about fingerprints?
As I told you before, Cranston, a smart criminal doesn't leave his prints around.
Oh, but O'Reilly found a clean-cut set of prints right in the center of your desk, Chief. He's down on the files right now, checking up on them.
What? On my desk?
You say a complete set of prints was found?
4 fingers and a thumb, all perfect. No smudges.
Perfect. Well, you're very fortunate, Weston.
We'll have the murderer within an hour, Cranston.
I wish you luck.
Chief, I've got the murderer. Here's the rat who killed Doc Kilgore.
Molly? I knew your story sounded phony.
I didn't do it. Dr. Kilgore was a friend of mine. You've got to believe
Shut
me.
up. Now, what is all this, O'Reilly?
Well, I was developing the photographs of the fingerprints we found in your office, Chief, when I heard a noise in Doc Kilgore's office.
Yes?
I rushed in and caught Moley red-handed going through the Doc's papers. And this paper was in his hand when I jumped him.
Let's see it.
Sure, I was going through his papers. But I didn't kill Doc. I can swear it. Why, he was the best friend I ever had.
This is getting to be most interesting. What does the paper say, Weston?
It's a note for $850. Made out to Doc Kilgore and signed Charles Moley.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. I can explain that.
Yes, I'd like to have you explain this, Moley.
Well, I did owe Doc $850, but I paid him back early this evening. He was busy in the lab and didn't have time to get the IOU for me. After he was dead, I realized how bad things would look for me if the note were found, so I went to his office to get it.
Go on, Moley.
Well, that's about all there is to tell. He lent me the money to pay off the men I'd been gambling with. I didn't want to lose my job, and I knew I would if you found out that I'd been gambling.
You say you paid the money back to Dr. Kilgore?
Yes, early this evening, and I swear I did.
No money was found on Doc Kilgore. Now I'll tell you what I think, Moley. You owed Doctor money and you couldn't pay him. He threatened to come to tell me about it and about your gambling. You got desperate and killed him to save yourself.
I gave him the money, I tell you.
I'll get you for this.
Keep away from me. Come on, get it.
None of that, Giles. I know how you feel, but...
Doesn't anybody believe I didn't do it?
Take him away, O'Reilly.
All right, Chief, come on.
I'm telling you.
Give him a hand, Giles.
All right, Chief.
Well, there you are, Cranston.
You're convinced you have Doc Kilgore's murderer?
Absolutely. Motive and all.
I don't think you have, Commissioner. There are too many loose ends. What about the fingerprints in the center of your desk? Why was the knife thrown instead
How do you
of...
know it was thrown?
Just a hunch.
You can't convict a man on hunches. I've got proof and a motive.
What happened to the money?
There never was any. That was part of Moley's phony story.
Oh, I see. You know, Commissioner, those fingerprints intrigue me.
Well, go to work, Sherlock Holmes. Oh, for me, I'm going home and get some much-needed sleep. Come in.
I'm sorry to bother you, Chief. But is O'Reilly here?
No, he's busy. What did you want?
Well, it's about the prints, Chief. The ones we found on your desk.
What about him?
Well, I've checked him, and I've rechecked him. And they don't make sense.
What are you talking about?
The fingerprints we found on your desk, Chief, belong to Killer Norvelli. But he's been dead since 1931.
Please, Cranston, go away and don't bother me. I'm too busy to spend my time watching vaudeville acts. After all the excitement last night, I had about 2 hours' sleep. Look at this desk, piled with mail. I'll never get through it all.
You're missing something, Commissioner. There's a woman knife thrower on the bill who's simply terrific.
I don't care if she is simply terrific. I can't... Knife thrower.
A most interesting woman, Commissioner Weston. Madame Maria Novelli.
Killer Norvelli's widow, you know.
Ah, Killer Novelli again. Cranston, if I hear that name again, I'll begin throwing things, and it won't be knives.
But, Commissioner, don't you think that...
Think. I'll... Go away, Miss Lane, please. Cranston, go write another mystery play or anything you want, but don't bother me. I got the murder of Doc Kilgore, and I got a motive, and that's all I need.
I hope so, old man. I sincerely hope so for your sake. As for me, I've got a hunch. Come on, Margot.
Bye, Commissioner.
Goodbye.
Margot, the Shadow is going to pay Madame Maria Norvelli a visit backstage at the Lyceum Theater.
Maria Novelli.
What? Who is there? I can see no one.
It is I, the Shadow. You cannot see me, but I can see you. And you must answer my questions.
Who are you? What do you want here in Maria Novelli's dressing room?
Who murdered Doc Kilgore, Madame Novelli?
I don't know what you mean.
Is it Killer Novelli?
Novelli? No. No, it could not be. He is dead.
Novelli was your husband?
Yes, but he is dead. Dead, I tell you.
That is the truth?
That is the truth. He was evil. He killed with the knives, the beautiful knives. I teach him the great art to throw the knives, and he use it to kill.
Who else have you taught to throw the knives?
Many. But there was one last year I taught him. He was very good. He learned quick. He learned as good as Novelli. I want him to join the act with me, but he...
Go on. Go on.
He say no. He say he got other reasons. Other uses for the knives. He is evil too, like Novelli.
You aren't lying to me?
No, it is true. Everything is true.
What is this man's name?
His name? Oh, no. That I cannot say. He make me promise not to tell. He say I kill you if you tell.
You must tell me his name if I'm to help you.
Oh, please. Please do not ask that.
Quickly, Madame Novelli, his name.
All right. I will tell. His name is...
Madame Novelli. She's dead.
And that's the story, Margot. According to Dr. Giles' report, the same weapon that killed Doc Kilgore also killed Madame Novelli.
Any fingerprints found this time, Lamont?
Oh, yes. The ever-present fingerprints were there. Perfect set as usual. And, of course, they belonged to our friend, the late Killer Novelli.
But how could a dead man go around killing people?
He couldn't, Margot. That's just it. The murderer is merely using a very clever device to throw the police off his trail.
Yet the fingerprints do match, Lamont.
Yes, confound it. That's the confusing part of this whole thing. If I knew how the murderer performed this neat little trick, I'd know better where to look for him.
Well, darling, at least you were smarter than Commissioner Weston. He thought Moley was the guilty party.
Yeah. Old boy was a bit upset that the killer should have struck again and Moley safely guarded miles away under lock and key. Still, I can't be too hard on Weston. My record hasn't been too good on this case either. All I know, maybe Killer Novelli is alive. Maybe he's the man we're after all.
Oh, I know that mood of yours when I hear it. Come on, Chief. You and I are going out for a nice brisk walk.
Oh, it's getting pretty late, Margot. Besides, I've
No,
got...
I won't take no for an answer. Now, come on. Here's my
right.
hat and my gloves and... Oh, dear, look at them. Just look at them.
Look at what? Oh, your gloves. What's the matter with them?
Well, they're ruined, that's all. Ruined. I just got them back from the cleaners, and they washed them instead of dry cleaning them. Now, look.
Yeah. They've ripped.
Of course they've ripped. All the oil's been washed out of the leather. If they had any sense,
Hey,
they'd
wait a minute,
know.
Margot. Oil, leather, preserved. Margot, if the oil was still in the leather, the preserving oil, they'd still be good. The gloves, I mean.
Lamont, sometimes I
That's
think...
it, Margot. Of course that's it. You've just given me the one link I need to solve the case.
But how? How? I don't understand what
Remember I told you if I knew how the murderer performed his trick, I'd know where to look for him?
Yes, but what...
Well, Margot, right now the shadow has to make a call on a gentleman in a dissecting laboratory.
Who's there? Who's there? Answer me or I'll...
It's the shadow, Dr. Giles.
The shadow?
So sorry to interrupt your labors, but I must ask you to give me a very unusual pair of gloves you possess.
What? Where are you? I can't see you.
No. Unfortunately, you can't see the shadow. I asked you for the gloves.
No. What do you mean? You can't know anything about me.
I know this, Giles. That only you and Dr. Kilgore would have been able to get the fingerprints of Killer Novelli after he was electrocuted. And with Dr. Kilgore dead, it was pretty obvious who the murderer was.
You know a little too much, Shadow. I have a knife in my hand. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Why don't you throw your knives?
Yes, Shadow. There. I'll kill you.
No, Dr. Giles. I'll not be another of your victims.
Yeah? Well, what do you want of me?
I want your confession to the murder of Doc Kilgore and Maria Novelli. I also want that pair of gloves you made of human skin. The skin you took from the tips of Killer Novelli's fingers when you performed the autopsy and then kept in preserving oil.
You know too much, Shadow. But I can talk plainly to you, because you won't live to tell.
You killed Doc Kilgore?
Yes, I kill him.
But why? Why, Giles?
Because he stood in my way. I should have been head of the department long ago. But I had to wait for him to die.
You also had found out that you had Killer Novelli's fingerprints and was going to tell Commissioner Weston the night you murdered him. Is that right, Giles?
That's right. But he can't tell now, can he? Madame Novelli's dead, too, because she knew too much. Everyone thought Novelli did it, didn't they?
You were very clever, Giles.
Yes. I prepared for years to do this. First, I stole the fingerprints from Novelli's hands when I performed the autopsy on his body. Then I got Novelli's own wife to teach me to throw the knife the way he did. No one would catch me. No one would suspect me. My crime was perfect.
No crime is perfect. In some way, the criminal slips up and is brought to justice.
What is all this? Why'd you send for me, Giles?
I sent for you, Commissioner. The Shadow.
Shadow? Here in headquarters?
Yes, Commissioner. And this is the man you want. The murderer of Doc Kilgore and Madame Novelli.
What? Giles?
Yes, Giles. Surprised, eh, Commissioner? Yes, I did it. I did it, but you couldn't catch me. You'd never have found out. And now that you have, you're not gonna take me alive. Not alive, you
Quick,
hear me?
Weston, stop him! Stop him!
Giles, drop that knife! Afraid it's too late, Shadow. He's dead. Killed himself. Come in.
Hello, Commissioner. Remember us?
Huh? Oh, hello, Miss Lane. Cranston. I'm busy. Sit down.
Say, Commissioner, I wanted to see you this morning because I have another idea about the Kilgore case.
What? Hey, wait a minute. Don't you read the papers?
The papers?
I broke the case wide open last night. It was Giles. I knew it all the time.
Giles?
Yeah.
Well, what do you know about that?
Giles? Well.
Do tell us, Commissioner, why did Giles do it?
Go out and buy yourself a paper, Cranston. I'm sorry. I've got a luncheon date with the mayor, and I'm late now.
You know, Commissioner Weston will actually get to hate you if you tease him too much.
You notice, Margot, he didn't give the Shadow any credit for the solution of the crime whatsoever.
I broke the case last night, Cranston.
Aye.
Oh, but Lamont, that was a horrible case. How could Giles kill the man who was his best friend, who helped him through school, got him his job here? How could he?
Well, Margot, Giles was obviously suffering from a persecution complex. He imagined the world was against him. He thought his friends were his enemies. But his twisted brain was a brilliant one. He was devilishly clever. But he paid for his crimes as all criminals do, eventually. Say, that isn't bad.
What?
That line. I can use that in my second act.
You mean just before the heroine says, I am a woman?
Yes. No. Oh, Margot.
Today's program is based on a story copyrighted by the Shadow magazine. All the characters and all the places named are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. The Shadow magazine is on sale at your local newsstand.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The Shadow knows.
I have to say, I thought that was a pretty great story. You heard the announcer mention the Shadow magazine at the end of our story. It was an American pulp bag by Street and Smith that came out from 1931 to 1949. Every issue had a whole new novel. It's also the place where the famous line, "Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows," came from. Walter Gibson convinced the magazine's editor, Frank Blackwell, to let him write the first novel, The Living Shadow. It came out in the very first issue, which was in April of 1931. The first book was a hit, so the publisher decided to make the magazine into a monthly and then made it into twice a month. The success of The Shadow led to many other single-character pulps. Street and Smith quickly followed up with Doc Savage, while other publishers started titles like The Spider, The Phantom Detectives, and books in different genres, like westerns and science fiction. But The Shadow was one of the first to do this. I hope that you enjoyed today's stories. I sure had a lot of fun bringing them to you. Ron's Amazing Stories is brought to you by Audible. Discover endless adventures and a 30-day free trial today. You can stream or download thousands of included audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals in the Plus catalog. It gives you the power of storytelling anytime, anywhere. Visit audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories to start your journey today. Thank you, Audible. That was episode number 676, and only the Shadow knows if you liked it. If there is a story that you would like to hear on the show, please let me know. I would love to play it for you. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.